for everyone to come on in and to join us. Thank you so much for joining us for our webinar today. And we're talking about the things that no one really says about natural hair and having natural hair on air. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to join on in and, grab your glass of wine, grab your chips, your candy, and just sit down and enjoy the conversation. All right, for those that are joining us, thank you so much for coming in. Thank you so much for being a part of the Young Black Journalists Task Force webinar today. We're talking about the things no one really talks about when it comes to natural hair, and we're just keeping it and having a real, raw conversation today. I'll give you guys another minute or so to get it together because I know I like to have all my snacks and stuff laid out and everything, so I'll give y'all a few minutes. Chat is popping already. Drop where you guys are from. I want to see where y'all at. Ooh, okay, Central Illinois, we see you. New York, okay, Texas, Dayton, Ohio. Okay, all right. Okay, Texas in the house. Okay. So now I see that we have, Florida. Yay. Okay. Thank you guys so much for joining us this evening for the Young Black Journalists Task Force webinar, talking about the things that no one really says about having natural hair on air. Before we get started, we're going to have our Madam President, Dorothy Tucker, say a few words.
Thank you. This is very, very impressive. The Young Black Journalists, you guys are doing an awesome job. One of my favorite memories was 2019, when we took that beautiful photo of all the women with the natural hair. And I just wanted to pop in for a moment and just really thank the young women who inspired me to wear my hair natural. I've been doing it only for about 5 years. The majority of my career, I straightened my hair. And then I began to see these beautiful young women on their hair on television, wearing braids, wearing twists, just kind of wearing their hair the way they wanted to. And I was like, you know what, I can do this. This is what I want to do. And it doesn't make a difference whether you choose to wear extensions, whether you choose to straighten your hair. The point of this is that you should have the option to go natural. And if you choose to go natural, we want to make sure that this industry understands that this is acceptable, and that managers should accept this and applaud this. So that's really all I want to say. And I want to thank you guys for doing this. I have learned so much from the young women and young men as well, who are out there, wearing their beards and twists and braids and all of that. Kudos to you. I've learned a lot. I'm looking forward to this session, and thank you guys, and have a good one. Back to you.
Thank you so much, President Dorothy Tucker. We really appreciate it. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So first things first, I would like each of our panelists to introduce themselves and kind of give a little bit about themselves. And the one thing I want them to say is, why did you decide to go natural on air? We'll go ahead and get started that way.
I'll go ahead and start. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for showing up and supporting us. Black Hair, Natural Hair on Air. I'm Sia New Yorker. I'm a anchor reporter based out of Cleveland, Ohio. I'm also the Region 2 director for NABJ. And man, I went to an NABJ conference in Detroit in 2019. I wasn't looking for a new job. And I said, I'm just gonna wear my hair natural, put it in a bun. And I got back from NABJ and I said, I don't wanna put my weave or my wig back on. I'm just gonna just wear my hair natural. I didn't ask for permission. I just did it. And I went natural on air. And I've been natural ever since. That was almost more than 3 years ago. And I haven't looked back since.
Let's hear from Miss Tashara Parker.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. Look, I've been seeing all your messages in the chat. I see some folks here from Frisco, Texas. Hey, y'all right up the street from me, all right? So thank you all for joining. Truly appreciate it. I'm so happy that this space has been created for this because we know that it's such an important conversation, and I'm so happy that we are having it. I am in Dallas, Texas. That's where I'm based out of. ABC Dallas, WFAA, Team Tegna all day. And it's just been a journey, right? When I started wearing my natural hair, one of the things that kind of led me down that path is I was having a conversation with my news director. It had nothing to do with hair, but she just so happened to mention she was going to get some braids. It was a Black news director, a female news director. She said she was going to get her hair in braids. I say, oh, must be nice to go ahead and switch your hair up whenever you want to, right? And she was like, what do you mean? what kind of conversation is this that we're having? And so anyway, long story short, I started wearing braids. So I started with natural hairstyles prior to me wearing my hair natural on air. So after wearing the braids for, I'll say about 9 months straight, by the way, I wore braids. And then eventually I ended up wearing my natural hair. It was not a big deal where I was just like, oh, I'm doing it for this reason. I just wanted to be me. I just wanted to be Tashara. I was so sick of straightening my hair. And I just remember one day I washed my hair and I couldn't find not one curl, not a one curl. So I was in the restroom, y'all, I cut all my hair off by myself. I don't know how to use no scissors. So I cut all my hair off, and that's what kind of just led to me doing the natural hairstyles and ultimately wearing my hair natural. And it's become such a huge thing because I really want young girls, when they see me rocking my hair natural on air, then to know that that's something that they can do as well, right? It didn't start that way, but it certainly evolved into that type of a conversation. So that's my story. It ain't all that deep, but it's certainly become something that I'm very, very proud of that I ended up doing.
Thank you so much, Tashara. Dana.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for coming, and shout out to the task force for putting this on. I am Dana White. I'm a reporter at Wood TVA in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I am from the Metro Detroit area, and I went natural a little less than 3 years ago, similar to Sia. I also went to an NABJ conference and was just super inspired leaving and was like, you know what? I was new into the business. I was about 3 months in, and I figured if I was going to do it, I might as well just do it right away. So I did that, and it's been great. The support has been great, and I'm glad we have a community like this to able support each other, bounce ideas off of. So thank you all for coming.
And last but not least, Ms. Treasure Roberts.
Hello, everybody. My name is Treasure Roberts. I'm so happy to be here with so many beautiful people rocking their natural styles. I work for WKMG News 6 in Orlando, Florida, and I am born and raised in Detroit. I was in Peoria, Illinois, Central Illinois, right before I got here in January. So my story is interesting. I would say that the reason why I first wore my hair natural, not a protective style or braids or anything, but my first time I wore it natural in a sense on air was because I was in a panic. Like I didn't know what to do because I didn't have anyone to braid my hair up when it was in its natural state. So I do remember that day very clearly. It was when I was working weekends and I actually had to call a coworker, I believe like I think the night before, like, I don't know what to do. Like I got my hair washed and blow dried, but I don't have anybody that can actually braid it. And I don't know, I don't have my wig. I don't have nothing, and I came into the station wearing like straight hair. And so then I'm talking to him and he's like, I think you just do whatever, makes you feel happy or whatever you're confident with doing. And I was just so worried that my bosses or somebody was going to say something negative, or I was going to get reprimanded, and so I remember walking in that day on the weekend, and it was not many people there, and I got on air. So I was just checking. I was checking the Facebook posts, checking the Facebook messages, waiting for a viewer to say something about my hair. And then nobody said anything. My bosses didn't say anything. I even came into work, I think the next week, with my hair still in that bun. And my managers were like, "Well, we like your hair." So I think that was kind of the start of it. That wasn't really all of it. It was really just, I was in panic mode. I didn't have anything else to do. I didn't have my wigs. I was so used to wearing my wigs. But really that same year, 2019, I actually started a natural hair journey. So I have not put heat on my hair since 2019. I cut a big lump of I cut a lot of my hair off. I did like a mini big chop, because I think, as Tashara mentioned, at some point you look at your hair, where are the curls at? It's, it's straight, and it's not supposed to be that way. I remember a point when my hair used to be like thick and full, and it did have a curl pattern. But at that point, when I was looking at it, it was heat damage, because back in high school, back when I was getting my reel prepared, and your professor tells you, well, you need to keep your hair consistent to get a job. I'm like, I gotta wear my wig, gotta keep wearing the wig, can't wear the braids, gotta wear the wig, gotta wear the sew-in. So I had the U-part sew-ins, I'm straightening out the front, and so literally the whole front of my hair is just down my face, and the rest of it is kind of like a damaged afro. So day by day, I kind of felt a little more comfortable with doing that. And that's how that's how I started wearing it natural on air. It was like step-by-step process, where it started with something like a slick back bun, like, do I look conservative enough for television? It's in a bun. And then I moved forward, like, what, let's push it a little bit. Let's try a puff that's like pushed up. And then I started to get more comfortable and be more confident and who I was in my natural hair and in my workplace. So then I started wearing like the afro. Listen, I wore the afro, put a little twist at the front, all of that. Then I got to the braids. So it was definitely a process for me, but I feel like I definitely feel more comfortable on air in my natural hair now than I did 2 years ago. Well, I wasn't really a professional that long ago, but you know what I'm saying.
We're right here. So again, thank you for everyone that's joining us, and thank you, ladies, for opening up and sharing your stories. You guys are inspiring thousands and thousands of women across the nation, in and outside of the industry. So my first question is going to be about the Crown Act. Now, that's something that's been in the works, and it's not spread across the country. Wherever it is, I mean, it's not across the country. I know it's here in Virginia. I know it's in, I want to say California, but it's not in places like, it's not in places like Missouri or Iowa. So what do you think of it? Is it in your state? And why do you think it is not a law? The Crown Act is not law where you live?
I'll jump in. Hey, I'm in Texas. Texas gone Texas, and y'all know Texas gone Texas. So it is what it is. No, I'll say this. We had some Black lawmakers back in 2020. This has only been really going since 2019-ish, right? So they knew what they wanted to do. So the Texas Legislative Black Caucus already knew that, hey, we were bringing it up this session in 2021. So I will say that there are 3 Texas lawmakers, 2 out of Dallas, 1 out of the Houston area. I may be getting that backwards, but either way, 3 Texas lawmakers that are working really hard to push the Crown Act here in Texas. We've already worked with them in a series that I've been doing for my station here in Dallas. And actually that series has been shown all across the state of Texas. And so they are working on it. They are pushing for it, but you got to realize also here in Texas, we got a whole lot of other issues that we're trying to tackle. So tackle on the energy crisis that we all dealt with a week and a half ago. So, some things might get pushed to the bottom of the totem pole as far as their importance, right? And so I do think these 3 lawmakers are certainly going to keep trying. I love that back in 2020, even when they were not in session, because we meet every 2 years for our legislative sessions, even in 2020, they said, nope, we're going to talk about this. We're going to get together. It was the Texas Legislative Black Caucus, and they said, we're going to try to do something about it. So no, it's not law yet, but we'll see at the end of this legislative session what ends up happening with it, if it passes the House and then moves on to the Senate, et cetera. It's a conversation that's still in the works. So our session usually wraps up around May. The good news is, as far as keeping this conversation going, making sure that it stays at the forefront, making sure folks who don't necessarily know what the Crown Act is and why the Crown Act is important, making sure they know about it is part of the work that we're doing at my station and the series that we're doing, Rooted, at WFAA. And basically that series is actually going to run all the way up until this legislative session ends. So with that being said, we're going to follow the Crown Act and what happens with it all the way up until the end of May, or when our session ends. So it's a big deal for us around here. Y'all know how Texas is. I don't got to tell y'all that. So something like this really isn't a big deal for many legislators in Texas, but we do got some people that are working really, really hard to get the message out there. So that's what we got going on in Texas. So hopefully we'll be having a different conversation come May, but we'll see.
I'll jump in here. It is not law in the state of Ohio yet. It is law in the city of Cincinnati, which passed a local law, but it has been passed in the House here in Ohio, but it, has to be approved in the Senate, and we have some problems here in Ohio as well. You guys know. So, hopefully our lawmakers will see it important enough to follow it through, and we can join the other states and make that law here as well.
Are you going, Dana? Sorry, I saw you take a mute. No, so it's also not law in Florida. I'm pretty fresh. I'm new here, but I saw that it died in the Senate last year in 2020, and now there's another lawmaker trying to push a companion bill with the House right now. So I definitely agree with the sentiments that they just gave about, priorities. Do people think that it's important? I think the people who are pushing the bill understand why it's important. So I hope that at some point here we can make that law. And I also think that a lot of people don't understand. They don't understand why it should be law or why it even has to be. I mean, for us, I even think about why it has to be law. Why does it have to be law? Because we are being discriminated against in the workplace. And if we weren't, that wouldn't even be an issue. So it makes me feel some way that we have to have it written in law in order to wear our hair the way it grows out of our head in general. But that's neither here nor there.
No, I agree with you, Treasure, on that. It's like a double-edged sword because you don't want to have it a law, because we should just be able to do what we want to do. But unfortunately, yeah, here in Michigan, it's not law either. And we've had one state rep really try to push it forward 2 years ago, and it just kind of died. It didn't even make it to the House floor. So she just reintroduced it again about a week ago. So hopefully that gets through. But I just feel like not enough people see it as important, similar to the other states. Not enough lawmakers understand why we need to have this on paper and written down. But I think now that more people are talking about it, hopefully it gets pushed through soon.
Thank you so much, ladies, for breaking that down, because that can probably lead other people in other states to kind of dig in and talk to their lawmakers and say, hey, maybe we need to start telling a lot more stories like this so that they know that this is a real issue, not only in the journalism industry, but in workplaces across America and even the world. So my next question is, we're going to kind of get real here. We're going to talk about microaggressions. People in comments, on social media, in person, in the workplace, on the sidewalk. What do you say to those people who have something mean to say about your natural hair and the way that you wear it at work or outside of work? And we'll start with Dana.
So, as any of you who are on air know, we get a lot of emails. And for me personally, I have to protect my mental. So I'm not going to respond to everyone. If one of them hits me off guard and I have time that morning, I will respond. But I just feel like maintaining that professionalism while also educating them why it's inappropriate. And I would say my station is very supportive on that, responding to viewers and being able to be like, yo, that's not cool, and explaining it. But again, I don't respond to everyone because I think it's important to take care of me first. But I will respond when it's 6 a.m. because I work morning. So if it's 6 a.m. in between my live shots and I have time, I'll do that.
She said she got time. Okay. Treasure, I saw that you took your, you can go ahead. Go ahead, Treasure.
So I haven't had anything like that happen to me here yet. Again, like I said, I'm new and I haven't worn my hair natural on air yet. Hair natural on air here yet. I do plan to get braids next month, so we'll see how that goes as far as viewers and microaggressions. But I know at my last station, I definitely got some hate. It was, it wasn't. I was not surprised, disappointed, but not surprised. I think that's the best phrase to use. But like Dana said, the support that I had in my new station with my coworkers, management, I felt fine about it. I didn't feel insecure. I felt confident in the hair that I was wearing. And honestly, kind of like Dana said too, I don't respond to everybody. There are times I pick and choose when I want to educate you, because a lot of times I don't have time to waste my energy on ignorance, but sometimes people just need to, you can tell sometimes the difference between like sheer ignorance and sometimes just hatred, like pure hatred. But quick story, and I'll try not to like ramble this one, but when I had my braids on air, someone had time today, I guess, and sent in a Facebook message basically saying your reporter, Treasure Roberts, is so unprofessional. Her hair is so unprofessional. Why would you allow her to be on TV with dreadlocks? First and foremost, they were not dreadlocks. Second of all, dreadlocks is offensive. Maybe you should say locks. Third of all, they're braids. Like and also the biggest thing for me is even if, and oh, I'm sorry, one more thing. They said people with dreadlocks do not wash their hair for 3 months because she just knew, she just knew. Not true. Two, if they chose not to wash their hair for 3 months, please explain to me how you can smell someone's hair through a television screen. So it was just so much ignorance, so much hate. I looked at that and I said, wow. I said, and she also said, sorry, I will not be watching your station anymore. I'm going to watch the competitor station. And I said, all right, thanks for watching. Like, I had nothing else to say, but my coworker actually went to bat for me. Like when I tell you, sent paragraphs. Excuse me, ma'am, here's an article you can refer to. You can learn a little bit more about braids, what they actually are, and the difference between braids and locks, and the fact that people who have locks do actually wash their hair more than, once every 3 months. So I think that there's importance to educate people, but some people don't want to hear you. It's not that they don't know. Some people don't want to hear you. They want to feel that hate. They want to feel the way they feel. They don't want to change. They don't like change. But like I said, again, in short, I will educate people sometimes, and I'll do it respectfully, because you have to stay true to you. And I don't want to act out. I don't want to do anything like that. And I'll do it respectfully. Or if someone tries to touch my hair or ask a question or say, do you really have any hair under that wig? Anything like that, respectfully, you shouldn't ask that question. For one, respectfully, please do not touch my hair. I don't touch yours. Stuff like that. It just depends. It depends on the day. It depends on how much time you have that day.
See ya. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, Treasure, woo, girl. So a couple years ago, I went viral. My station went viral for, I was filling in the morning and somebody tweeted, oh, Sia's hair is so unprofessional. At the time I was working like 4 a.m. to like 8 a.m. and I was outside and my hair was just stretching and just, when it's natural, it was stretched. So I'd blown it out and it just got puffier and puffier and puffier. That's what happens with 4C Afro hair. And she just wrote in, she just went in on me. She went in on me on Twitter. And before I could even respond, because, we're under contract and we have to keep jobs. We have to, be wise in how we respond to people. And before I could even gather to nip her up, viewers came out of nowhere. My boss, my news director came out of nowhere and just like nipped her up and was let her know, Sia's very professional. We don't know what you're talking about. We like her hair. And just so you know, she has the #1 story on the internet, our digital platform right now. We like the way she looks, blah, blah, blah. So it's those kind of microaggressions. Every once in a while, I'll get messages from viewers, sometimes good, mostly good. I'll be honest and tell you, most of the time it's good stuff. But every once in a while, I notice some older folks, will message and say, man, you need to straighten your hair. You look unprofessional. and I just have to just tell them, thank you for watching. We appreciate your time and just keep it moving, and then if I have time, if I feel like it, sometimes I'll educate, but it just depends what I feel like, what I'm in the mood for that day, to be honest with you.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to. Can
let me just jump in because I'm gonna keep it brief. I know everybody got a whole lot to say. So look, I know we got a lot of questions to get through. So I'm gonna keep it brief. Yes, I educate people often, and I do it as much as I please. If you take the energy and the effort, like some of the others said, you decide when you want to respond. But if they take the energy and effort to email my entire station, then I'm probably going to respond to you. So that is what it is. And so the series that I'm doing right now is I'm educating people from the top to the very bottom and letting them know what the deal is. So that's it. Y'all some of y'all know my story, some of you don't. I know we got more questions to get through, but that's it. I try to educate as much as I can. I know it's tiresome. I know we shouldn't have to do it, but sometimes we need to because people are ignorant. That's it.
Period. So we're going to go ahead and start taking a few questions. I do see that we have received two or three so far. I'm going through and scrolling. One question we have from an anonymous attendee. Tashara said she would like to answer this one. And it says, if we're creating a reel right now to start a career on air, should we maintain the same style in each clip, or can we have a mix of natural styles, braids, and straight hair in our reel?
So let me tell you this up front. I will say that the answer that I'm going to give you will certainly vary depending on who you ask, right? You'll have some women and men who have been in the business way longer than I have, right? That will tell you, look, you might want to just try it out with one hairstyle on your reel, get in the door, and then make it do what it do. But I'm a firm believer in the fact that, look, if you're going to put it out there on my reel to get my job at WFAA and to get the 5 other jobs that I could have had in other markets, I had all kind of hairstyles on my reel. All right. And so it seemed like people weren't as interested in my hairstyle when I was putting out good content. If you're a good journalist, you're going to be a great journalist no matter how your hair is. And that's the message that we've been trying to prove all this time, that it doesn't matter how I wear my hair, whether it's braids, whether it's an afro, whether it's locks, whether it's in twists, whatever it is, I'm still going to put this work in and I'm still going to show you what I'm working with day in and day out. So I will say this, and this again is a very subjective opinion, and you may get different answers from different folks. I say show up as you are. If you know that you're going to want to change your hairstyles, change them. Look good in what you're doing, you know what I'm saying? But change them how you want to change them. That way, when you get in there, you don't get depressed because your managers are like, we don't like that one, or you're not having to have those really difficult conversations. And I know that's a question for later on, but sometimes you kind of set yourself up for those difficult conversations because you weren't being your true self to begin with. So I would encourage you, the anonymous person who submitted that, I would encourage you to try to show up as your true self, whatever all your glory is, the way that you plan to rock your hair, and just show up. Because if they're that focused on your hair at the beginning, you better believe they're going to be focused on things that don't matter down the line too. So I would just say, show up as yourself. I don't mind different hairstyles on reels. I've looked at plenty of reels with my time, in this business. And that never bothered me, right? But of course, that's the position that I'm in right now. But if you're brand new trying to get into the business, that answer may vary from different folks. So that's my feedback on it.
Does any of our other panelists have anything else to add, Treasure?
Yeah, Tashara really hit the nail on the head, but I definitely, I know a lot of us or all of us probably have been in that space too. When I came out of college, my professor was telling me consistency, and then when I got to a career fair to show people my reel, someone told me, you need to take that clip out of your reel with the braids because you're not going to get a job, And then I had somebody tell me, don't ever let nobody tell you to take a clip. Don't ever let nobody tell you how to wear your hair in general. So I know it's like you have like the self versus self because people tell you so many different things, but at the end of the day, I left that clip in my reel with braids and I got that job. And also I would like to I would just like to point out, why would you want to work for a place anyway that is so consumed with how your hair looks over your skill? Why would you want to work for that place? Would you rather work for a place who accepts you 100% for how you are and they want to see how you can tell stories at their station in that community? So that's my biggest thing. I don't want to work for a place if the first thing you say to me is, okay, we like you, but are you going to wear your hair curly or are you going to wear it straight or are you going to wear it in braids? I don't want to be there because you're worried about the wrong thing. in my eyes. And truly, quite truly, your hair, the way you wear it, does not impact your storytelling, okay? Unless it's windy and it just blow in your face or something like that and you can't talk, and that's a joke. But literally, it does not impact your storytelling. It doesn't impact the way I write my script. It doesn't impact the way I interview people. It really doesn't. So I would honestly just have you think for a moment. If somebody is giving you those bad vibes to where they're worried about your hair, you do what you want to do, but I would walk the other direction. And there is somebody out there that will hire you, whether you have braids one day or straight hair the next. And the reel that I used to get my job in Orlando, I'm telling you, I had the braids, I had the straight hair, I had the slick back bun, I had the Afro puff, and the reel, it was just, who was I? You know, I mean, same person, same storyteller. They saw right through it. They didn't ask me about it, didn't bring it up, nothing like that.
Yeah. Anyone else have anything else to add? Thea?
I'll just add something because I've been in the business a little bit longer, and I want to say that things have evolved. Everything that you guys are saying, and it's so true. I used to advise my mentees to, you know what? Because when I came up, it was like you had to have the straight anchor bob. Until I got to Cleveland, that was what it was. If you didn't have straight hair and the little anchor bob, you weren't getting a job. There were no curls. There was no length. There was no texture. It was none of that. So things have evolved, and I'm happy to see that they're evolving, because now I don't advise people to make 2 reels. I just tell them, put the best story. You know, if they're worried about your hair, if that's all they're going to focus on, that's probably somebody that you don't want to work for, like Treasure is saying. And then let me just say this, though. There are still places and markets where you won't be able to get a job because somebody doesn't like your hair. So let's just keep that in mind. And that may not be the direction you want to go in. That may not be the place you want to work. Find some place that wants you to be your best authentic self. That's all.
Thank you, ladies. So the next question that I saw in the chat earlier is, why do you guys believe that choices in hairstyle for Black women is an issue in 2021? Dana, let's start with you.
Yeah, going off of just the Crown Act, I feel like not enough people are educated about it, and newsrooms need to be diverse to tell these stories to start off, so people can realize that this is an issue just to begin with. So I guess continuing to talk about it, but people aren't going to know it's an issue if they don't know what they don't know. So that's why I think it's important we continue having these conversations.
So what about those people that are in your newsroom? If your newsroom isn't as diverse, how do you talk with your coworkers about that? Dana, you have to follow up with that.
Yeah. No, I'm thinking you're good. Well, just speaking off, so I just did a story for Black History Month on the Crown Act, and the white producer who produced our Black History Month special, because we don't have any Black producers at the station, came up to me and said, like, I learned a lot from this. I feel like a lot of stuff in the story I didn't know previously. And I want to thank you for like bringing that to West Michigan, because West Michigan is not diverse at all. So a lot of people probably didn't know about that. I would say just having those conversations, keeping it non-confrontational, and people you can tell when they're going into it with an open mind and not being just vindictive. Like, don't taking it too personally if they do have questions, because sometimes people really just don't know, and being okay with educating them.
I'm gonna tell y'all this one time. I'm not gonna say who it was or what it was, but a person asked if I wore a wig because I had alopecia, and she was not a person of color, and that really hurt me. And I had to really think on my feet. What do I say to this person who does not know that I have a whole head of hair up under here? And just because someone decides to wear a wig or a weave does not mean that they don't have hair. And if they have a cute buzz cut or a pixie cut, it doesn't matter. So I just told her, I was like, girl, it's just by choice. And if you want to learn more about natural hair or how Black women wear their hair, text me. We can have dinner, we can have wine, we can have coffee, let me know. And she seemed cool after that, but I know what y'all mean. Anywho, we're gonna continue on with our conversation. So my next question for you guys is that awkward conversation that I had. How do you guys have those awkward and difficult conversations with other people? We kind of touched on this just a little bit. And Treasure, you can start us off.
Can you specify when you say those awkward conversations, like if somebody asks me if I'm wearing a wig or something like that?
Yeah, or if they say, oh, is that your real hair? Or, oh, why is it so big? Why is it so fluffy? Or questions of that nature.
How do I handle that? You know, I would be lying if I didn't say that sometimes, depending on who it is and how they ask, it infuriates me on the inside. And because I'm in the workplace, I don't want to get out of pocket or anything like that. It really depends on how they approach me. I have definitely had people, coworkers, very, very cool, oh, I love your hair, is so like puffy, like, can I touch it? Or I would just say thanks, but I'd be like, no, and then some are persistent. Well, why can't I touch it? I was like, well, I don't touch your hair. I don't ask to touch your hair. I try to like put it back on them. Like, I don't do this to you. Why do you do this to me? It's hair, whether you're used to it or not. And then you have people who ask me if I wear wigs. I'm pretty open though. I'm a pretty open person. I'm not embarrassed. Like I told you, I'm on a natural hair journey. I wear wigs, not because I don't have hair. I know I said I cut a lot off, but also a lot grew back. I wear wigs because it's easy, it's convenient. I don't put heat on my hair. It's easy for a morning shift to wake up and put it on like a hat, and then there are days when I do wear it natural, when I want to wear a puff or something like that. But it just depends on the situation. You handle situations with grace, for the most part in the workplace. And if it's something that's truly disrespectful, that's when you might have to kind of go to management. Sometimes you don't want to handle those situations on your own when it's truly disrespectful, or you can respectfully put them in their place and then maybe go to management and go to HR. It depends on how you're feeling. Everybody is different. I haven't had one of those situations where I had to necessarily go to management or HR about something. Most times I on the spot will educate them, or say, that's, if you're going to ask me that question, maybe don't ask me that in front of everybody, or maybe don't ask that question at all. Don't reach out to touch my hair because I don't like that, and I don't do that to you. And I want the same respect that I give to you, pretty much. So it really, honestly, it's a case by case basis, and it's not really awkward at this point. It's not awkward. It's not really awkward. I'm not embarrassed. It's just annoying, sometimes. But for the people who really do not know, it's okay. I will talk to you about it, because we can't make them feel like, oh, you're stupid for asking that question, or you shouldn't ask that, because some people really are curious and they appreciate it. They want to know more about it so that they can appreciate your hair, and I'm okay with that. I'm perfectly okay with that.
Anyone else have anything else to add or to touch on about having these difficult, awkward conversations?
I do not, Janae, but I do have a really good question that I want to respond to from Stacey Ann. Stacey Ann said, have you ladies ever gotten blowback from family members or friends about wearing your natural hair in air? And baby, listen, yes, absolutely. My grandmother, when I first came home rocking my hair in a natural little afro, it was a little baby fro too. It was a little bitty inches, I came home with that afro. She was like, why you do your hair like that? And when I tell you I was hurt, I literally went to my dad, because it's his mom. I went to my dad and I was like, can you believe she asked me that? Like, can you believe like she would respond that way? Here I am trying to embrace, my authentic self. And I get that type of response from family members. But yeah, I mean, if we don't even go there about family members, you can talk about friends, some Black men, for whatever reason, some of them tend to really enjoy straight hair as opposed to when you rock it natural or curly. And so, I've gotten a lot of negative feedback from family members, some that I certainly did not expect. And a lot of times too, the people who you feel like are going to support you the most are the ones that really let you down. And so somebody mentioned it earlier, saying that were they surprised? No, but were they disappointed? Yes. So yeah, I was disappointed by that feedback that I received from, family members or what have you. But at the end of the day, look, you got to embrace your style, and you got to be a part of groups like this so that you can know that there are other women and men out there rocking their natural hair proudly. And not only that, hey, we switch to a wig when we want to, we straighten it when we want to, but we do have the choice, like Madam President said when she first got on here, to do that, right? We have the choice to wear it curly, straight, whatever the case may be. So yeah, I have gotten negative feedback from family, friends, men, all of that. So yeah, It happens. Sia, go ahead. I see you come out of mute.
And after Sia, we're gonna answer one more. After Sia, we're gonna answer one more question that I see in the chat. Ty, we're gonna get to you. I promise.
My gosh, what my soror Tashara said. My God, to this day, and I love my parents. We are close, we are good, but they're still like, they're not used to that. They're in their 70s. You know, they immigrated from Liberia. They're just like, are you sure you're not going to get fired wearing your hair like that? Are you sure? You know, and I'm like, no, things have changed. It's okay. You know, we can wear our hair this way. You know, that they're always just, they're so afraid that, like, because, you know, the time they came up, that just wasn't, the TV people didn't look like that. I'm like, well, things have changed for the good. So, but yes, the shade from friends and family, it weighs on you sometimes.
Thank you, guys. One question we have here from Ty. Some of us are still working to embrace our natural hair. How did you all figure out what look was best for you on air? And anybody can jump in and answer that. Treasure, I see you took it off. Go ahead, sis.
You know, and I want to pop in there because I'm still at the point in my life where I am not totally 100% confident. I am more confident. And I will be real with you all because it's been taking me some time. I was so used to wearing my hair straight, you know, all the time, really, before, you know, back in high school and college and everything, because that's how I felt most confident, or I felt most pretty. And I didn't know why I felt that way. Maybe because when I wore my hair natural, you get comments like, oh, you need to get your hair done, or, you know, from like family, friends. It doesn't feel good. It's not a good feeling. And to think, oh, I look ugly when my hair is not straight. I was like conditioned to think that my natural hair was not beautiful. So I'm still like working on my styling, and, you know, hopefully I can get to the level of Miss Tashara Parker over here. Every style she wears is beautiful. Okay. But it's literally trial and error. And, you know, the thing is, you go on air, you wake up, you want that to look good. And so if you try something, you get on there and you're like, ooh, this is not what I wanted this to come out like. You know, you got to just try to, I don't know what you got to do at that point. I try to just like pull it back or something. But it's trial and error. I say, you know, what I did sometimes was try the style on the weekend, you know, see how it looks on you. Do you like it? Is it something that you think you can keep up? And then try to wear it during the week. I like to start with the simple stuff, like the simple puffs. You know, if you have an afro, like you take the string, you tie it around, you pull it in, and it pushes it up like on your head. It's cute. I love it. You know, it's simple, it's easy. It's nothing, you know, too hard to do before you go into work. You don't even have to do anything at night, really. Or you can try like the gelling your hair back up and put it into a bun. You can get the fake hair extension from the beauty supply, wrap it around too if you want to add a little more volume. There are so many little different things that I try. Now, the twist outs, okay, those are the things that you could try it, and then it might not come out the way you want it. So like I said, you know, try it on the weekend, see what you want to do. But there are so many styles. Of course, I go to YouTube. I definitely watch some of our naturalistas in the industry, and some of the styles that they try, and I try the same thing. But I think with every time that I do wear my hair natural on air, the more confident I become, and the less I think about it. You know, it's amazing. You don't think about it because you're not forced to. Everybody's supporting you. You feel good in it. And so now all you're thinking about is your story, not, oh, what are people thinking about my hair? You know, and then honestly, it just takes, I feel like with everything, kind of takes reps, doing it over and over and over and over, and wearing it to the point where you no longer notice it. It's second nature. It's natural. It's your hair. It grows out of your head.
So I'm going to actually switch to two more questions that we just got. We actually, before I get to the one that's in the Q&A from France, there was another one that came before that, is how did your station react to when you went viral for your hair? Did they come to your defense, or did you receive negative comments? Now that's what I'm interested in.
Hey, Shan. Hello. Yeah, so I saw that question. I was going to get to it a little later. But yes, so my station, baby, they came out swinging, baby, just like I was. We came out the gate swinging. So yeah, they stood up for you, girl. And that's really how this thing really took off, right? So I wore the hairstyle. I didn't get any negative feedback from my people at work, from the coworkers or from bosses or anything along those lines. And literally that week. So here's the deal about my station. My station knows that I do respond. I do like to educate, and I almost always got time. And if I don't got time, I probably gonna make time. So they know that that was probably going to be something that I was going to end up doing. And so they basically said, okay, well, instead of wasting your time responding to all these different people who poured in their negative feedback or what have you, hey, you just respond one good time and let them have it. Lay into them, educate them. And so my station rallied behind me big time. They knew what was up. They knew that I was probably going to respond. So they rallied behind me. They supported me. They still support me. Hence the new series that I have running on our station and across the state of Texas. Actually, I've seen it outside of the state of Texas, by the way. So yeah, they rallied behind me. They supported me for the most part. I had one of my coworkers, a white man, actually made this really long post talking about hair and how he didn't know this was a big deal. And baby, he went in on them. He's one of my co-anchors that I work with in the morning time. And so to see that type of support, not the kind that's behind behind closed doors saying, oh, we're good. No. He made this post and just went in support of me. So that was brilliant. I thought it was beautiful. So for me personally, my station supported me.
All of you guys kind of went viral at one point, but if you guys can touch on it briefly, because we're getting a lot more questions now, and I want to keep the ball rolling and everything.
So when I went viral, it was right 3 months into the business. I'm young and don't know anything yet, so it was a little bit overwhelming, but I went natural on a weekend, and I did it purposely because I knew management wouldn't be there. So I'm like, it's the weekend producer and the anchor, and I knew both of them. I knew they'd both be cool with it. And then by the time it was Monday, Teen Vogue and Yahoo and Today Show already picked up the story. So management couldn't really say nothing, because at that point, you'll look trash if you say anything negative. But they were supportive. I don't know if that was kind of like a kick in the butt for them having to be supportive. But I think at the end of the day, it made them realize that more people want this than not, and more people were trying to accept one another these days. So at least for the experience that was my former station, and then now in Grand Rapids, I came in and they knew what it was. So I mean, if you had an issue with it, you wouldn't have hired me.
Anyone else have anything else to add? Treasure?
I mean, yeah, well, I it's pretty much the same thing they said. I went viral for wearing my braids on air. Honestly, didn't see that coming. Did not expect that. Went to sleep, woke up, boom. You know what I'm saying? And I came in clearly to the station, I think, with the braids before I even took that photo. And everybody's just like, oh, I love it. I know I would love to get on that. How did you all approach management about your hair? But this is my first time wearing doing a really big change. Like, I was wearing it natural, but I had never wore braids. So I just told my boss, like, hey, I'm thinking about getting braids. And, I just showed him a picture of it. He didn't know what it was. He didn't know what box braids were. And he was like, oh, they look perfectly fine, So my station is super supportive of my braids. Everybody liked them. And then when I went viral, they were supportive too. When it came to the backlash that I got in the messages, if they weren't ignored, people did come to bat for me at the same time. So definitely supportive. I didn't have anything bad to say about that.
So I'm going to go ahead and move to the next question, because I want to make sure we end on time, and we're going to continue this on Clubhouse. Remember this, y'all. Okay. So my next question is someone from France. So we're going global, y'all. Okay. So they're following the conversation from France, and they say that things are really moving slow over there, but change is coming. Do you guys have any advice to help accelerate awareness among both sides within the Black community?
Hey, France. Yes, come on, France. I love it. So by the way, France, I just teamed up with some folks out in the UK, in Europe, for World Afro Day. So if you are not a part of that, if you know anything about it, if you don't know anything about it, go to worldafroday.com. It's a huge initiative, a worldwide initiative, but it's based out in the UK. So I'm so happy that you're on here, and thank you for following it. And so you're right. This is a conversation that has been worldwide, right? This isn't just something that's happening in America. Now, maybe we're getting a bit more, I don't want to say notoriety, but a bit more coverage, because I'm seeing so many things go viral over here, but it's something that happens everywhere. And I would say for the folks that kicked off World Afro Day and to get all of these different individuals from around the world involved in the program, I will say that's one way that they're trying to, make sure that things continue to progress the way that they need to. Things are going to happen quickly, and it may seem like things are happening quickly here, but honey, it's been a long time coming. It's been a long time for us to get here. And so I would just say keep hope alive, keep participating in events like this, keep talking about it, get involved with World Afro Day, and just realize how you can also make a huge impact, right? Like, I know we're only one person, right? But your impact can be so much greater than, of course, the question here on this Zoom call. You can get involved in a lot of different ways to try to make sure that message is still being driven the way that it needs to be driven, even all the way in France. So that would be my piece of advice. But I wanted to show you, because I saw so many questions in the chat about how do we become confident wearing our hair. Can y'all see that? Is it too bright? Is it too bright? Hold on, let me try to move this light. What about now? Can y'all see it? No?
No.
What I need to do?
I was gonna say try to tap. Oh, that might not work.
Can you lower the light?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, can y'all see it now?
Is it all the way down?
No. Okay, boom.
Oh, now we can see it.
Okay, y'all see my little afro, and y'all always talking about how the hair looking cute. Baby, look, that's how I started off wearing my hair on TV, and I want to show y'all that because I want to let you know that, baby, the confidence comes after a period of time. You just got to try it out and be confident in what you're doing at that point. That's my little baby afro, and I wanted to show y'all. That's when I first was in that restroom when I cut off all my hair, got in the car, and I was like, I got to go get something done to this stuff. But that's how I started wearing my hair. Boom. So, hey, confidence is built over time, all right? That was a long time ago, but still, I just wanted to show y'all that when it comes to rocking your natural hair. And I love my little fro, by the way.
Yeah.
I just want to add,
go ahead.
because Tashara makes a good point. I didn't actually start wearing my afro out until last year. I wore it in a high puff. I did, all different styles. Make sure when you do it, you're comfortable. I waited until I was comfortable because when you're on the anchor desk, when you're out in the field, you don't want to be fidgeting. You don't want to be uncomfortable because that affects your presentation. So when you do it like 100 and be your most authentic self. That's all.
Awesome. So we're going to keep the ball rolling. If there's anyone that has any more questions, drop them in now or forever hold your peace. Because I don't want y'all to be mad at me later and say, I wanted to ask this question. I'm sorry. But also, if you do have more questions for our panelists, if they want to drop their social media info on there, then maybe you can ask them questions later on. But we're going to continue moving on with this. We're keeping it going. So the next question is, we've already talked about this. Is it hard to respond to viewers? How do you maintain your posture? Yeah, how do you guys keep you cool? I've seen that twice, actually.
A lot of grace.
The Lord.
Yep.
The Lord, okay.
God.
I also saw one question about building stories. Oh yeah, here it is. It's for, they said this question for Tashara. She says, hey, she said, me and Cleo work together in Salisbury. How did you get approval to do your segment on air when you spoke directly to viewers about your natural hair?
Now, I done told y'all, my station knew that I was probably going to say something. So I felt like it just ended up working out to be a great situation in them allowing me to speak out about it on air. So Karen, how it worked out was, let me also say this. I have 2 Black managers above me, 2 Black female managers above me. Mind you, you got to have the right people in the right spaces to make sure the right messages come across. So I have a Black executive producer. I also have a Black assistant news director. I'm not going to stop there, though, because I have a white female news director, still very important. And I have a white female general manager. I said all that because I think between the 4 of them, they knew that it was a good situation to have me utilize our platform, our station's platform, to let people know, like, no, Tashara ain't on her own. So if you gonna message her, you gonna message all of us. And so it just worked out that way. It wasn't necessarily me asking for permission. I was actually asked, like, hey, do you want to respond on our platform? And so it worked out perfectly. So that was my situation. Of course, it hasn't always been that way. I've worked in 2 other very small markets, okay? It was a big jump from the market that I went to, Tyler, to Dallas. But in those 2 small markets, I didn't have the same I don't want to say support, but I didn't have a situation where I would have been given a platform to speak out. And so WFA, and it's funny, Bridget in the chat, someone else in the chat basically was saying, look, I worked for WFA years ago and it wasn't always like that. So I feel like WFA, the station that I work for now, it's came a very long way. And I'm going to keep pushing until the next person who is in my position, they can walk in there so confident, they ain't got to worry about a thing as it relates to hair. So yeah, that's what I'm here for. I think that's what everybody should be doing, to know that when someone comes after you, baby, they're going to be walking on water. All right. That's how I want it to be. So my station very much supported me. It wasn't a matter of getting approval. It was a matter of writing it up and them giving me a time slot to get in there and make it happen. So that's how it worked out, Karen.
So I want to hear from Sia or Dana about this, because you guys brought up stories that you talked about this, and I don't know what your leadership looks like at your station. How do you tell them these things? How do y'all have them conversations about these stories? Keep it brief too, please.
To the managers or to viewers?
To both, to managers specifically. That's what I want to know.
I mean, honestly, it's not an issue, to be honest with you. I think sometimes, like, I had built up in my head that it was going to be this big thing. I was ready for a fight, and it really wasn't. It didn't end up being that big of a deal, to be honest. I remember my assistant news director, after I wore my hair, natural for like weeks, he was just like, I like your hair. And that was it, to be honest with you. So, I mean, it's not going to be that everywhere, so I'm thankful for that. I haven't experienced any negative. It's all been supportive.
For me, when it comes to like pitching those stories, like in meetings, so my EP is ultimately in charge of the morning show. She picks what goes on air. She's a white woman, but I worked with her in Lansing, my former station. And then she came to Grand Rapids and was kind of like, hey, we have this opening, you should apply. So I knew what it was coming here, what kind of environment I was coming into. And she's fully like down for the cause. Like if I say I want to tell this story, and then if she has a story idea, she'll not only pitch it to me, but she'll be like, I feel like you'd be able to tell this the best out of the people on our show. And just having that support, it's so critical, because I feel like, especially in my market where my station is known for just white men back in the history, and it's finally now, we just hired our first bilingual reporter. So we're finally trying to like make those moves. And without people, the ones who are actually going to approve your stories, you don't know if you can even feel confident going into that morning meeting and saying like, hey, I want to do this. So I would say, know who you're going to work for, kind of look them up in advance, see what kind of stuff they post about and that they're passionate about. Because for me, that makes this job definitely more worthwhile.
Okay. I'm going to ask one more question because one of our panelists has to leave a little bit early. But we are going to, just one last question that I would love to know. So those days where you're not feeling confident, where you feel like, your curls aren't popping and your hair just doesn't look right, what do you tell yourself? Who do you go to? How do you take care of not just your hair, but what's going on in here? Anyone can jump in.
Girl, look, I beat this face to the gods. No, I'm just kidding. Nah, that's part of it. I ain't gonna lie. Because look, when you look good, you feel good. And if my hair ain't right, then either I'm gonna pull it back, or I'm gonna give me some popping lipstick, or whatever the case may be. But also, you guys, I meditate in the morning. I have a therapist. I got all those things on tap, because baby, you need them in this day and age. Now, I didn't get a therapist until last year, 2020. Y'all already know what happened in 2020, right? I don't gotta tell nobody. But yeah, so that's when I knew that I needed a therapist. So therapy, meditation. And of course, like I said, I'm going to beat this face to the guys. I done practiced that enough. So if the curls ain't popping, my face going to be popping, my content going to be popping when I get on the news, and I'm going to show out when I get there. So that's what I do to make sure. Exactly. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I usually do to make sure that I'm in the right headspace. And sometimes in the mornings too, I have a lot of podcasts that I listen to, a lot of audio books, etc. And many of those podcasts that I listen to are like, pastors, and Stephen Furtick is one of my favorite ones. So yeah, that's what I do every morning, because I got to prepare myself. There's a scripture, I can't think of it off the top of my head right now, basically saying, look, hey, honey, put your armor on so you're ready to go in and fight and do what you got to do, wherever you are. So I put my armor on every single morning. It's plastered on my mirror, and I make it happen. That's what I do. Take it away, Dana.
Yeah, for me, the self-care, it's when I'm off work, I'm off work. And it's so hard because news does not end and you can always be on your phone checking what's happening. And I get off work at noon since I'm on morning. So I'm looking the rest of the day trying to figure out what's happening. But I think what 2020 really taught me is that you need to prioritize yourself first, because you cannot go to work and do your job fully if you're empty and if you're not confident that you can go in. So I really just try to mute the notifications and not be on my phone as much. Again, it doesn't always happen, but just kind of keeping that in the back of my mind.
If the question is, how do you help yourself feel better when you feel like your hair isn't popping? I just feel like it's a running thing. You have to practice self-love. It's something that I practice every single day, and it's hard sometimes, whether it's your hair, whether it's your body, whatever. You have to love yourself. You have to give yourself grace, because you're not doing anything but harming your mental health if you continuously look in the mirror and say, my hair is hideous, my body, I don't like my size, I don't like my shape, I don't like what I'm... Just love yourself, okay? Even on those bad hair days, do what you got to do to make it look a little better. But honestly, it probably never looks as bad as you think. It's probably all in your head. Half the time when we don't think we look good, other people are looking at us like, what are you looking at? You look fine. It's all in your head. I definitely, though, I do agree with what Tashara said. Sometimes I would put that makeup on extra, do them that good eyeshadow, get them lips popping, them eyelashes, them eyebrows. It'll take away from the fact that, you might not have laid your edges enough for you. But again, it's really all about self-love. And I just think that a lot of times when we are faced with those, oh, my hair's not popping, or I just don't like the way this looks, I feel like sometimes it's part of the conditioning. Why does it have to look so perfect to us? Wear your hair how your hair grows out of your head,
Yeah.
And that all starts with self-love. What you know about me, okay? So yeah, and I don't want to be a hypocrite, and I am practicing self-love currently. I'm not 100% there with myself. I have days when I'm like, Treasure, why you look like that? But then people always tell me, my friends, Treasure, you got to give yourself grace. I just told a friend today, I feel like I look terrible in my swimsuits. And then she's like, girl, no, you don't.
Girl, what?
I know. I told her that, and she laughed at me. She was like, girl, bye. But like, I had to, so when she said that and other people were like, give yourself grace, I was like, you know what? I look good in this swimsuit and I'm going to wear it with confidence. And that's what I did. That's not even about hair. Just love yourself.
And also with natural hair, it's not going to look perfect. And we just need
to
accept that, like, curly hair is going to be different every day. It's not the anchor bob. You don't style it the same. So just being okay with it's not going to look the same every day. And like Treasure said, you just got to love yourself.
And you guys, people that have relaxed or straight hair, they don't have the best hair days every day either. I mean, I just look at it, everything you guys said, the self-love, but I mean, remember your journalism. Some of my best award-winning journalism reporting was with rotten hair, looking just raggedy. You know what I mean? Go out and beast your stories and, be a voice and a light in the community. You'll have better hair days. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Period. Content is what's important. Like we said earlier, like if you're going to a place and they're focused on your hair, that ain't the place that you really need to be. I mean, it is what it is. And we always think that our hair isn't going to look, as perfect, but that's the point of it being natural, because you're showing up fully as you, right? It's not going to always look good. Y'all saw that little picture I showed y'all. I was on air a couple of days like that too. So look, just go on in there. Make it happen. That twist out ain't gonna dry all the time, and you just gonna have to roll with it. All right. So yeah, we'll be fine. That's why we have these kind of conversations.
Yeah, and I see a few more questions. I'm gonna reply to this person to make it a little bit more clear. But the title of this webinar is the things that people don't say. What is one thing people aren't saying about having natural hair on air?
I think it's what we've been saying this entire time, this entire conversation. It's not always going to be perfect. You're not always going to quote unquote like how it looks, even though it probably looks fine to everybody else around you. And it's hard, right? Because sometimes, Sometimes it takes time and money, and sometimes you need somebody to help you with your natural hair. Don't think just because you see all these people posting stuff on YouTube and this, that, and the third, or their hair looks put together every single day. Baby, some of these people got some stylists somewhere helping them out. So I would just encourage you that if this is something that you want to do, start seeking out help, and don't rely on YouTube just for all the help that you need, because that's going to be overwhelming. It's going to overwhelm you. You're going to see everybody using rice water, this product, they doing cucumber oil and this on the edges and all kind of crazy stuff. I mean, I ain't gonna call it crazy because some of y'all might be doing some of that stuff too. But look, I'm just saying, I've done the rice water, by the way. It stinks. But yes, I would say it's hard. It can be difficult, but if you learn to embrace it and have fun with it, like just have fun with it. Stop listening to all these people with all these different ideas of how natural hair should look, how you should wear it, how you should style it. My natural hair don't look like everybody's natural hair. My natural hair dang sure don't look like Dana natural hair. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all are different. So embrace the hair that you have on your head. That's what I would say.
Sia, what are people not saying? What's your take?
People are not saying that natural hair is work. It is work. I think people think that you just wake up and just be like, no. Like, I mean, for my hair, I have to water it 2-3 times. I mean, my God, I have spray bottles all over my place. I have to braid it down sometimes to make the curls pop. Like, I have, there are just things you have to do. Like, if I went to bed without my silk bonnet or my silk scarf, I mean, it would be a wrap. Like, I probably would call out sick. Like, you know what I mean? Because I'm like, I'm not going back to wig life. But it's hard. It's work. You don't just wake up like, and it look. You still have to do stuff to maintain it. And I don't think people say, you got to drink your water, you got to moisturize. I mean, that is so key. Like, people's hair will be down their back and it'll break off because you're not moisturizing. So it is work.
Treasure?
No, it's the same deal. Like, it is very hard work. And that's why, and I commend y'all ladies, honestly. I am definitely a wig wearer. I will wear me some wigs. I got wigs in rotation. I got a beach wig. I got a wig named Lola. She long and straight. What do you mean? Okay, I got all of these wigs, okay? And it's because I don't have the patience sometimes. But as we talked about before in the beginning, it's about choice. This whole conversation. You can wear your hair straight. There is nothing wrong with it. Nobody is bashing you. If you want to get that what is it called? The wrap. That's the fancy wrap. I don't know what it's called. It's some type of fancy wrap they be getting to get it straight. Anyways, it's bouncy. You want to wear your wig. You want to wear your hair cut. You want to wear a U-part sew-in. Girl, do that. It makes you no less of a woman. It makes you no less of a Black woman. It makes you no less of a beautiful woman. People shouldn't say, well, y'all, you want to wear your hair straight. You're just conforming. Listen, wear your hair how you want to wear your hair. That's the thing, And for me, like, I don't, listen, my arms get tired. You be up there corn rolling it to the back. You be up there twisting it out to the back. I can't do that. It's expensive. I bought some Camille Rose products. Why was a bottle of oil $20? $20, that's like gas,
And
but
it ain't that good.
Oh, well, I should have asked for your review before I bought it then, but okay. Yeah, so it's a lot of work. But it also does make you feel good. It does make me feel liberated when I do wear my hair like that. But that's the one thing I just wanted to add. I wanted people to know that don't think that if you're not wearing your hair natural, that's something wrong with you, or it makes you less Black, or it makes you less this. You are perfectly fine and beautiful however you want to wear your hair. I don't want to put nobody down in any way, shape, or form, because I do like to wear my hair straight, like in the wigs. I haven't put any heat on my hair at all because I need to get back to my regular roots. Okay. I need to get it back to the point where that afro is popping all around. I want it to look like a circle. Okay. From here to there. I'm not there yet. So when I do get there, I'll let y'all know.
I'll just say one last thing, because I know I got to tap out of here very soon. But I'm happy that she mentioned that, because it almost seems like, and I hate that we have to overcompensate to say this and reinforce the fact that it is okay for you to wear your hair straight. That is not saying you're less Black, because I actually had to address a Black man directly who basically said, the person basically said, look, just because my family doesn't wear their hair in an afro, that doesn't make us less Black. And I was like, wait a minute now, who said that? That wasn't part of nobody's conversation. And it's almost like we have to keep reinforcing the fact, like, no, we're not downing anybody, but is it not okay to uplift the folks that are wearing their hair in its natural state, especially considering the confidence and boldness that it takes sometimes to step into these spaces with your hair that way? And so I'm happy Treasure mentioned that. Like, that's not saying you can't, we are against some way folks wearing their hair straight. No, it's just uplifting each other. Never would I, as a marginalized person, want to marginalize another group. The marginalized can't marginalize the marginalized. You know what I'm saying? So I would never want to be in that position. And so, I don't want to say it sucks that we have to reinforce that, but it does, that we have to continue to say, well, no, we're not putting anybody else down. It's just about uplifting, the rest of us. And so I'm happy she mentioned that. And I do want to make it very clear that, yeah, we want to wear our hair however we want to wear it. Because maybe that body wrap that you were talking about, Treasure, that you was talking about, the fancy wrap, that's it, yes. Because when I get me a body wrap, baby, you're going to say, stiff wear, not my hair.
Thank you. I was looking for that word. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tashara, for joining us. I know you have to hop out. Thank you so much. The hair gods are thankful for you. We're thankful for you. Thank you so much, and we will talk soon.
Bye, everybody.
And Dana, what is one that we're just gonna keep the conversation going for a few more minutes, and we're gonna wrap up. So Dana, what is a few things people aren't saying about natural hair?
Yeah, I feel like it's the courage when you finally do make that decision. And well, for me, it was superheat damage, and it's not going to look good right away, and it's going to take a couple years for it to grow back healthy. I know we all know this, it's a big step, but for people who are outside of the Black community who don't have to deal with this issue of the courage it takes to walk into work, and you're sitting there like all in your head trying to, are people like looking at me? Is anyone going to say anything? Are the viewers going to write in? Like Treasure was talking about earlier, you get in your head. So that overcoming, I think, should be applauded because it's hard.
Right. All right, guys. We are no longer taking any more questions, guys. I'm sorry. We're going to wrap this up. Is there anything else that our panelists would like to say about today, about natural hair in general, things people aren't saying, anything about you, etc.?
I don't know. I think one last thing that was just on my head, and I'm sure we say this. I'm wondering if anybody has clapped back and said it to maybe a manager or a coworker or whoever said anything about their hair. But, we always get your hair is not professional. But why is straight hair professional? Why is it? Why is it that your hair is professional? I always wonder if I was in a workplace and someone told me my hair was not professional. I wonder, what the response would be if I was like, okay, well, why is yours professional and mine isn't? I wonder if they would stop in their tracks and look at me without anything to say, with no answer. You probably have no good answer, because what do you say? Because it doesn't look like mine. Oh, so because it doesn't look like yours, it's unprofessional. That's always on my head. It just makes no sense to me. You have no valid reason to tell me that my hair is unprofessional. I just can't see it. I can't see it with glasses on.
Yeah. Dana?
I just think we need to keep having this conversation because, at least as I mentioned in the beginning, I feel like the Crown Act hasn't been passed because it's brought up and then not talked about for a few months. So keep bringing these issues to the newsroom. I know it's hard, but that's why we're there. They hired us to have these diverse, different perspectives, and don't be afraid to use your voice.
Thea, do you have any last final words?
Yes, don't be afraid to be your most authentic self. I go back to that. Like, that's what makes you different. That's why they hired you. Be yourself. Whether it's with straight hair or afro or puff or, bald, just do it. Like, things have changed so much in our industry that we're, it's so nice. We go to the NABJ conventions and it's so good to see all these beautiful women, all colors, all shapes, all sizes, different hair. It didn't used to be that way. And so I'm just so glad that we're here at this point.
Right.
And that's the last thing I want to say for what she just said. I'm just so thankful to the women, you know, who have been coming before us, or the people right now who are paving the way for the women in the future, to where you will be able to walk into a room and not care if your hair is in an afro, in braids, or curly, because it no longer matters. So, you know, I think honestly, we are making some leeway here. And I think years from now, maybe I don't know how long from now, it won't even be a conversation, because half the time I'm still wondering why do we have to, you know, why is this such a big thing? Why are we going viral because we're wearing our hair certain ways? It's not something you really need to go viral over. It's not something that you really need to go viral over. And I'm just saying, I mean, I will hope that we get to a point where we walk into a newsroom and nobody's looking at us crazy. People aren't sharing our posts 1,000 times because we wore our braids for the first time in the newsroom. It should just be normal. Normalize Black hair. Appreciate Black hair. Uplift Black hair. I love it. I'm so thankful for people like Tashara, for people like you all that are on here right now, and all the people who might not be here, who are, you know, in the background, but still going to work every day, rocking that fro, okay? I support you. And if you haven't gotten there yet, like they said, confidence is key, and it's not going to be easy, I promise you. But the hardest step is going to be doing it for the first time. But once you do it, just keep doing it a little bit more, a little bit more. Just how you grow in your professions. You don't start off confident. You get there because it takes time. You get there because you put in those reps. So when you put in those reps, you'll get to a point where you love yourself. You love yourself 100%, the way that your hair looks, your body, everything like that. And then when you do love yourself and when you are confident, you just feel so much better about life. You'll feel so much better on the job. So I hope that all the people who are struggling out there, that you will practice self-love, you will give yourself grace, and feel free to reach out and talk to people. Again, if you need advice or if you need encouragement, you want to send me your selfie. You don't think your hair look good? Send me your selfie, girl. I will hype you up, period. Because you're going to walk into work looking good today, okay?
So take note, send Treasure your selfies for boostness, for all of that, you know, to spreading that Black girl magic, all of that. But thank you guys so much for taking the time out to, you know, be on our YBJ panel tonight and talk about the things that people really don't get to talk about. You know, we don't get these real conversations often. So everyone, if you want to drop your social media information in the chat, I'll leave this up for another minute. But we gotta go. It's Saturday night. Okay.
Some of us have to go to bed because we got to work and anchor in the morning.
Okay, it's time for bed. Yes. But thank you guys so much.
Can we just say, people are asking if this is going to be, it'll be posted on NABJ's website. So if you missed out.
Yes.
Early next week, it'll be on the NABJ website. So thank you guys.
Thank you, ladies, so much for coming and blessing us with all this Black girl magic.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, no problem. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.